Hello, my name is Simbava, and this is my Declaration of Purpose video for the Terma Farm YouTube channel. So, Declaration of Purpose is what it's all about. Why are we doing this? So, I'll introduce this in three parts. I'll first talk about names, and I'll talk a little bit about my background, and then I'll end with what I view to be as my purpose for this channel for you watching at home. So, let's start with the name Terma Farm. What is a Terma farm? So Terma is a Tibetan word, it means hidden treasure. And in the classical sense, a terma was something that a Buddhist master might hide so that the teaching could manifest at a later time and be discovered when the Dharma could flourish. So classic example, Padmasambhava, famous founder of Vajrayana Tibetan Buddhism, hid these termas all around the land. One of those was the Bardo Thadal, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Buddhism was being persecuted. He hid it in a scroll in the column of a temple. And years later, one of the Turtans, the treasure seekers, found the Bardo Thadal and published it. And that's how we have that literature today. So termas can often be physical things, but my favorite understanding of a terma is a mind terma. So this is something where a Buddhist master can hide something, but it's not a physical object, it's an idea, it's a teaching, it's an awareness, it's an understanding. So that's a terma. And when I say terma farm, I would usually refer to it as doing something that's so dharmic that it's like you're walking into a terma farm and there's just all these termas sprouting up from everywhere. And that's what I've learned from Buddhist practice. You put yourself in the flux, in the mind state, in the stream of the Dharma, and then termas sprout up all around you. So Terma Farm is the name of this channel. It's an appropriate name for what our adventure is here together. So I'll start with another name, which is my name. So my name is Simbava. But since in this world it's hard to go by one name, unless you're Madonna or Zendaya, I can't just go by Simbava. So on this channel, I go by Simbava Chi Evangelion. It's my author name, what I use to publish my photography, and what I will be introducing myself to you as in this channel. So it's a portmanteau of three names, starting with Simbava. So Simbava is my Buddhist spiritual name that I use in my Sangha. And it's a word that means coming together or coming from the unmanifest into the manifest. It's also inspired by the historical figure Padmasambhava, the founder of Vajrayana Buddhism, a real wacky dude that represents to me a lot of the tenacity and just kind of wild edge of spirituality as I've come to know it. So I gave myself the name Simbava in 2022, and it was coming out of an experience where I saw that my Dharma had actually fundamentally shifted into one of bringing things together. At the time, I was the abbot of a Buddhist monastery in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I was seeing a group of 15 of us running the programs, taking us on meditation trips and adventures. And not only in that, but just in a lot of life experiences, I saw that it was really moving this energy out to the collective was my calling for this next phase of evolution. So that's Simbava. Chi is the Buddhist name my spiritual teacher Sambara gave me. So back in 2012, a couple years into me becoming a Buddhist monk, I was given the name Chi. And the word Chi, it's a Chinese term, it's an energy term that means life force. Then finally, we have Evangelion. So my birth name is Evan, but when I was looking at different variations of it, Evangelion means the good news. And I really like that because there's something about that energy of the good news that captures what I feel like my spirit is all about. So together, it's Simbava, Chi, Evangelion, and it's the coming together of life force and good news. So that's me. That's Terma Farm. And if it's our first time meeting, it's so lovely to meet you. So let's talk about my background and where this comes from in coming to you. So 17 years ago, in 2009, in space-time, I was living in San Francisco, and I found myself quite unexpectedly on the pathway to enlightenment. So I met my meditation teacher, Savitri, in a meditation class in the Inner Sunset in San Francisco. I was learning meditation in a building that was shaken by the N line passing by every few minutes. Very funny place to learn meditation. And she said in that first meditation class that she studied with an enlightened teacher, and they were all about meditation, career success, martial arts, and scuba diving. And I thought that was the most beautifully confounding combinations of things that she could have said in one sentence. So I was immediately intrigued. And as I learned meditation, and I eventually got invited to my first meditation retreat with her teacher, Samvara, I found myself in the middle of the desert in Joshua Tree, California, in the middle of the night. And as I'm sitting out under the stars, I'd never been to Joshua Tree before. I was stunned by how many stars I could see in the sky. I just found myself in this state of inner oneness. I was so happy and grateful to be inside this park in the middle of the night, somewhere I would never be under any other circumstances. And it's at that point that our teacher Samvara stood up on a boulder in front of me and said we were going to do an open eye meditation, which I'd never done before. And he said, what you're going to do is have a soft focus on the third eye and look at him. And he was going to demonstrate what he called Buddhist magic. And I had no idea what that meant. And what he did is he clapped his hands 3 times. And on the third clap, my glasses fogged up. So I took off my glasses, I wiped them off of my shirt, and I put them back on. And I realized that my glasses were still fogged up. But I realized that it wasn't my glasses, it was that he was fogged up. And I found myself in full moon, I could see perfectly that this person who was previously standing in front of me was kind of immersed in this golden shimmering haze, for lack of a better descriptive word. And I was just in recognition immediately that I was witnessing something true, authentic, magical, mystical, and that I had never seen before and had absolutely no description of. So I just observed this and just smiled in this stunned silence. And then he ended and bowed. And he asked the audience to share any experiences that they had. And I wasn't going to say what I saw because I saw some weird stuff, right? And people around me, braver people than I, started telling stories and sharing experiences. I saw, you disappear. I saw you glitch in and out of consciousness. And I'm like, man, that is exactly what I saw. So it was at that moment, you can say, that I got really, truly put on the path. And that started a 17-year journey studying with an enlightened teacher of Buddhist mysticism. And it took me on, let's call it, a wild ass ride. And on the way, I learned meditation, I learned career success, I learned martial arts, and I learned scuba diving, just like Savitri told me in that first class. And I realized that the through line through all these activities was that they all put you in the perfect state of what we'll call first attention. You need to be very present, you need to pay attention, you need to be prepared, you need to be focused, but also a perfect state of second attention, release, surrender, flow, the unmanifest. And when you would engage in these activities, it would align your awareness to that middle point, that razor's edge, that samurai sword, and your attention could experience the vastness of meditation, of light, of beauty, of oneness, of magic, the whole deal. And that's what I've spent the last 17 years of my life doing. And it's taken some funny turns. Part of that expression is how you might think. I taught meditation to hundreds of people. I became an abbot of a Buddhist monastery, something I never saw myself doing. I created meditation music and albums that are intended to bring in the dimensions of meditation and these places of power that I love so much and let you experience them from the comfort of your own home. But I also did a lot of wacky stuff because this path that I'm on is laser focused on career success and understanding that in order to be a monk, which I consider myself to be, in Western society, you got to go to work and have a job, baby. And I learned that I can do that in a way that wasn't just mundane, having a job, going to work, going through the drudgery of it that we all do, but that my work could be done as yoga, as union. Like what they talked about in the Bhagavad Gita. I could experience in a physical action, yoking my consciousness with the eternal, the divine. I think in Christianity, they give the analogy that I really like. It's like you're in the world, but not of the world. And I learned through my practice that yoga is something that you could learn and you can express it in every single thing that you do. And whether it was in my meditation practice, or it was advancing spirituality through teaching and these other means, or it was going to my job and working with fellow Buddhist monks trying to express our light in software and technology, that these were all options in my life that I learned to study, develop, and ultimately master. Now, mastery is a funny word because the first thing you realize in mastery is that you're right back at the beginning again. They call that beginner's mind in the biz. So this is to say that I've had a lot of adventures, I've had a lot of experiences, and as I reflect on the gratitude of my path and from my teacher, who retired from teaching meditation a couple of years ago, and I find myself in this new phase of practice where, oh, I guess I need to be the teacher in the world that my teacher was for me. It brings us to this channel. So one thing that I was always eternally grateful for, and this is my way of paying back, is that there was other me's before me who really took the time to capture the essence and store the power of their journey with enlightenment. So in mysticism, we call writing something down storing power, because you're not just writing it down, you're actually taking the awareness, the second attention, the light of that experience, and you're compressing it into a physical thing, a sentence, or a YouTube video. And when you do that, it stores the light of that experience. And when someone interacts with that, it unpackages the light of the experience for them. So this is what we do in our meditation music. This is what we do when we write a book about our experience, or this is what we do in a YouTube video in your backyard, which is where I currently am now, watching my dog. My dog is looking at me very funny right now. And he should be, because this is a very funny thing, but it's also a very serious thing, because it involves you, it involves me, and it involves the light. And through this video and all these videos that I post on this channel, I want to express the light of my practice, my experience to you in a way that you can experience. So we're going to do that in a couple of different formats on this channel. I have lots of videos where I'm meditating in places of power, places in nature, natural beauty that just emanate with the dimensions and frequencies of meditation. And we'll also go behind the scenes. I work a lot in our music yoga. I want to talk about and capture the process of how do you compress light into meditation music so that you can experience light in your meditation when we listen to it together. I also want to document a lot of things that were never written down on my journey. So we had the benefit of beautiful hundreds and hundreds of teachings and transmissions and all sorts of fun adventures. Many of that, if you were there, you experienced it. And if you weren't, you didn't experience it. So part of my path and part of being a lineage holder of this Buddhism is that I want to share with you through this channel what I've learned, what I've experienced, and transient teachings that might have otherwise been lost into the annals of history, I can share with you through this means so they can be captured forever. Which brings me back to my motivation. So other me's in the past. I'm a 4th generation Buddhist monk in this lineage. My teacher was a 2nd generation Buddhist monk. My teacher Samvara studied with his teacher Rama, the origin of this lineage. And about every decade or so, we open up and another generation of students comes in, learns the path of Buddhist mysticism, learns the dimensions of light and enlightenment, and then teaches the next generation. So in space-time right now, in 2025, as we talk together in the backyard, we're just coming out of the 5th generation of students and opening our doors to the 6th. And this is how the lineage lives on. It lives on physically because there's students who teach each other, and there's an unbroken chain leading all the way back to our teacher. But more importantly, we transmit the light to each other in each subsequent generation. So me and my 4th generation, I oftentimes reflect and connect inwardly to the 13th generation. We call them ST13s. Our teacher's teachers was really into Star Trek. So each generation was like a different Star Trek. There was the original, and then there was Star Trek The Next Generation. So I consider myself an ST4, but I reflect often on ST13s. People who will incarnate in this planet maybe 80, 100 years from now, long after I'm gone, long after this backyard and I have had this moment together. But 80 to 100 years from now, there's going to be a me who incarnates on this planet, who goes to a meditation class or finds a book or finds some connection to this lineage, this light of enlightenment, and has an experience. It hits them on a level. And my mission for that enterprising young ST13 is I want to leave a time capsule. I want to leave a record. I want to leave a terma that they can unlock. And whether it's now, tomorrow, next week, or 100 years in the future, these are timeless moments that we share with each other, and thousands and thousands of dimensions of light that exist in this living lineage of enlightenment. And this is one of the ways, baby, that we're going to pass that forward. So it's a big mission. There's a lot into it. I see my purpose in life, my why, as Simon Sinek calls it, is I'm a curator of multidimensional experiences. And I want these videos to be a record, an artifact of these multidimensional experiences so that you can experience them too. A couple decades ago, NASA put up a spaceship into space, and they put on it a golden record. It was a record, it was gold, and it was encoded with all these artifacts from humanity at the time. So it was all these different languages, there was speeches. I think MLK's I Had a Dream speech was imprinted into the golden record. And they sent this out into space with the hope that some way, somehow, thousands of years in the future, or whatever, some alien civilization could find this and have a record of what life on Earth is like. So may this YouTube channel be a golden record for you to understand and experience the dimensions of enlightenment, this living lineage, for me, Simbhava, to my teacher Sambara, to his teacher Rama, in a way that you can access, whether it's 2025 or 2085. Doesn't matter. This is a timeless moment that we get to experience together. And in the spirit of that, I'd like to end this declaration of purpose with a meditation. So that's what we do, baby. We meditate. So this is a meditation. It's going to be a meditation in the third eye. This is your first time meditating. You're just going to sit up nice and straight. You're going to bring your focus, your awareness, your mind's eye to this point, just a little bit above your eyebrows. It's your first time. It's helpful to maybe lightly touch the area a few times. But you're just going to bring your attention in your mind's eye to this point and hold it there. And if a thought comes up and your attention starts to drift, that's okay. Just let it go. You bring that focus right back to the third eye. Third eye is a chakra. It's associated with what we call seeing. And it's the ability to see, understand, apprehend, bring forth a direct experience. So to end this video, I'd like to bring to you, through this meditation on the third eye together, a direct experience of the dimensions of Buddhist mysticism, that we'll share together in this channel, in this incarnation, or maybe in the next one. So let's sit up nice and straight, focus on the third eye. We'll sit in silence for about a minute or two, and let's begin. Very nice. At the end of our meditation, we always bow. Just a gesture to give our meditation back to the universe. So you and I just experienced a timeless moment together. And this is an experience that will always exist. Every time you watch this video, this experience exists, and the light and energy of this experience is always available. It's one of the key center points of Buddhist mysticism. These experiences always exist, and we can always connect to the light and bring it into the present. Doesn't matter if we're here, doesn't matter if it's a year from now, doesn't matter if I'm long dead in the future. This experience will always exist, and I'm very grateful that we were able to share it together. So, we're going to have a lot of adventures on this channel, and I want to introduce you to all of the places of power that have brought me so much joy and magic and expansiveness into meditation. And I hope that some small part of that connects and hits your soul the same way that it hit mine, and that we have some fun together along the way. So, this is Sambhava saying thank you and I love you from the backyard, May 3rd, 2025 in space-time, but also a timeless moment that will always exist. I look forward to our next meeting, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Are you still there?